from where you're joining from and what from rather and what you would like to gain out of this session. It could be out to come to Australia, or you would just want to increase your knowledge on some specific visa type. So just let's chat in the comment section. So just tell us your name. My name is Tayo. I'm joining from Lagos, Nigeria, or you're joining from Queensland, Australia.
Yeah.
If we do that, that'd be really good, everyone.
Let's pop it in the chat. And
You're welcome from Germany.
okay. If you could rename your Zoom name, that would be great as well. Just so we can refer to you by your name. All right.
Correct.
Think I think we can crack on, and then other guys can join us as we go along. So thank you all so much for joining this session, this webinar. Um, we hope that at the end of this session, you would have gotten a lot of value and information that will help you make, very important decision, specifically on different options to migrate to Australia. And the emphasis here is on doing that the right way. And that's why we've actually put together this program to help people. Just to give you a bit more context, this is born out of the fact that we've had a lot of inquiries from people who have seen us on socials or website, or they're just making inquiries, and they've asked about different ways to either secure job in Australia, immigrate to Australia. And even though our core operation is not in immigration, because of this need, and as well as the fact that what we do also is kind of like intertwined with this with our migration. At the end of the day, we thought it right to bring our next expert to actually come and speak to us today and share some amazing information that would help us, on the journey to Australia, if you so wish. And for those people that are here in Australia, maybe at the end of this session, you would have opportunity to then reevaluate your current standing and maybe explore some other visa um, options that would best suit your need. So without further ado, my name is Noah Oloja, and I'm the founder of Sync Skills. And at Sync Skills, our mission and objective is to help people get ahead in their careers, in their life, and we are focused basically on helping immigrants get ahead in their career. So we've been doing this by coaching, mentoring, and providing the right support for people based in Australia, Canada, US, anywhere basically, to learn tech skills and be able to function and contribute, and more importantly, experience the transformational effect, by securing a job that really changes their life. So if you want to change your life, you want to change your career, maybe you're doing a job you're not very satisfied with, you want to learn a new skill that would get you promoted or help you explore new opportunities in tech, we are here for you. So just some ground rules. We'll still talk about same skill as we go ahead. So just in terms of some ground rules, so please mute your microphone except you are trying to ask questions, which will give you opportunity to do as we go on in the program. and please try to focus. There's a lot of information that can, potentially save you a lot of time, energy, and bad advice from unqualified agent, right? And this can save you many, many years of frustration, I tell you. So it's very important that you seize the day and seize this opportunity, right? So again, we are here, and my expectation from this program today is that at the end of this session, you have clarity in terms of different options you can explore depending on your own personal journey or circumstance. So we'll be sharing a lot of information about different migration path that you can explore, specifically, I must say, for Australia. So to immigrate to Australia. And I said it's also very intertwined with the service provider sync skills. So if you're looking to kind of like work in your field and position yourself for, pathway to permanent residency as well, you can do that. Can I just also ask you all to turn on your camera if you can, just for more collaboration and synergy, I would say. Yeah, with that out of the way, I've shared a bit about sync skills on a high level. I'm just going to introduce our speaker today. He's an immigration agent and I would say an expert, as he's helped a lot of people. I think last time we spoke, there's over 500 people to either migrate to Australia or really position themselves for permanent residency here in Australia. So he has been helping a lot of people, um, make successful migration journey to Australia. So yeah, I think that for those reasons, it's very um, is an expert in this field and is positioned to speak to us about different options that we can, explore today. Um, After he shares a few about what he does and the options that we have, we will then open it up for question and answers. So you will definitely get opportunity to ask questions. And I know that with visas, there are a lot of specific questions that would relate to your own personal circumstance that you might want to ask. So give you opportunity to also ask those questions. Also, we would share some good, I would say, gifts for those of you that will stay to the end of the program. So watch out for that. So that said, Mr. Gabriel, can you turn on your video and let's get cracking?
Thanks, Benga and Tayo. And, thank you everyone for coming. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. Yep.
Fantastic. Yeah. Thank you for this opportunity to actually share some of our information and what our experience with our brothers and sisters and friends, both in Australia as well as in every other part of the world. Yeah. So because of time, we'll jump into it quickly. So every young man that got a prospect is thinking of what is the next thing I would do to improve my life. And in the past few years, Australia has been the dream destination of every young adult that is hoping to improve his or her life, wherever it may be in the world. So based on that, so Australia has also recognized that its economy is actually attractive to students as well as skilled workers. So the system is developed in a way that you must be relevant for you to come into the country. It's not like every other country in the world where like kind of wherever they call it a dumping ground. But Australia is quite different. It's a very special country and far away from everyone. And it has been over the years able to develop its system and its economy to a way that if you don't have relevance, you may not be able to come in. So two options of you coming in, that majorly as a student or as a professional. You mean a professional, it could be any form of profession, skilled, maybe semi-skilled, maybe highly skilled. So as a person, first thing that comes into your mind is, okay, we have two options here, the study option as well as the skill option. But first of all, what do you do? First step is to actually come to us. We have been able to understand the system and been able to help hundreds of people come over the past 10 years since 2014, over 500 both student and skilled workers. So first of all, you come to us with your options, with your CV. That is what you have done over the past 5 or 10 years and what you have studied. So first of all, we evaluate your personal circumstances. Then from there, we provide advice based on the assessment we'll be able to do. Then from there, we'll now come to the options for you. Is it better to come through study or through skilled migrant? Because a lot of us are confused. We don't even know what to do. So if we are to come through studies, that will be determined based on the assessment we'll be able to provide you. If you are to come through skilled migrant, it also depends on the evaluation we'll be able to do. So coming as a student, first of all, you have to also come up with your resume. Then we try to also know your age. Age is becoming a factor now. Many years ago, it was not very relevant, but now age is a factor. So we know your age, we know what you have studied. And coming to Australia, and also in terms of studies, you don't just come and study anything, or you don't just come to any university. That's what we call level 1, uni, level 2, and level 3. So you must be able to seek advice from us, and we'll advise you on the best uni to go, as well as the best course to do that will lead to permanent residency, because the end point is permanent residency. So from there, first, as a student, all you need to have in mind is IELTS. You must be able to think of your IELTS as well as your documentation. Documentation means your qualifications and your maybe possible a CV that shows all that. And another thing you need to consider is your finance. You start thinking about that as well. You must think about finance as well. Then last thing there, then we're able to decide that, then move on to the last stage, visa lodgement and the visa issuance. Then for the skilled migration, so we have so many options. We'll go deep later. We have the permanent residency. We've got the skilled worker, skilled options that lead to permanent residence. We've also got employment visa and or whatnot. So in that same, so next step from that, we also move to advice. You come to us, we advise you on your evidence of work. You must be able to show that, okay, you've been able to work for the past 2 years or 3 years. Generally, we've got some general professional skill assessment, and we've got the trade recognition of trainer. So most of those things, they require work experience, 2 years, 3 years. Yeah, so it's very key. Provable work experience. When you mean provable work experience, your task, your bank statement, pay slip. Then if you're able to, from that stage, we also think of IELTS as well as documentation, which I just mentioned. Then the finance is not a big deal here, it's minimal. If you're able to cross that, then we move on to the next stage of a visa application. The next slide, please. So for people that are onshore, if you're already in Australia, so we've got a different pathway for you as well. If you're already in Australia as a student, maybe you came through whatever course you studied before, because for you to come, you must be able to have a kind of relationship with what you have studied before. Maybe you study accounting, so you're not here. Maybe you're doing masters in accounting, or you did law, you're not doing masters, or you're just doing bachelors. But you don't know if your course is leading you to permanent residence. So what do we do for you? So we also and evaluate your circumstances. We provide advice based on assessment. Then we think of options. Okay, study or migration. So for study, so we think of, okay, if you are not doing the right course, we switch you to the right course. We help you to go to the right course that will lead you to PRO. And if you are not in the right school, we also switch you to the right school that has a course that's needed to permanent residence. So we also general advice. What do we do? We also look at your course. We also look at uni, like I mentioned. Then we also, as you are doing that, things you must have in mind, your IELTS, as well as your documentations, that are also very important when we move to visa lodgement. Then for the skilled visa, if you're already in Australia as well, you are studying, maybe you've had a previous qualification, but you don't even know what to do. So we can also guide you to even help you do assessment from your previous qualification in Nigeria or any other part of the world. Then from there, we'll also think of documentation. Then we also move to the next stage of visa lodgement after coming out with a positive assessment. Next slide, please. Good. So for this is a temporary graduate visa. So for us, this is visa for everybody that comes here. If you come, whatever study you are doing, whatever course you are studying, whether it leads to permanent residency or not, you will qualify for this visa. I call this a smoke screen because if you are not careful, this visa could be deceptive. So you must be thinking of how to maximize it because it's 2 years, it's quite short. So this visa allows you, international students who have completed their graduation, also have graduated from many of the Australia uni or TIFF. So the graduate stream visa and the postgraduate stream visa, that's what we have for that. So the postgraduate works stream allows eligible international graduates to stay and work in Australia, allow you to stay and work for 2 to 4 years, depending on the level of your qualification. If you've done a master's in research, MPhil, if you've done a PhD, or you study in a particular regional area. So you qualify for the postgraduate study work stream visa. Therefore, the graduate work stream, like I said, is very tricky. So if you have studied for 92 weeks, it might not be up to 2 years completely, but you must do that within your 6 months after graduation. Most times you finish your studies, you don't know, you are waiting. Oh, I will do it when I have the time. By the time 6 months elapses, you cannot apply for that graduate visa again. You have to think of how to go back home or study another thing. So this one is for people that have, like I said, studied for at least 92 weeks. It could be a master's degree, it could be a bachelor's degree, or anything you have studied, even a diploma, as long as you're able to study for up to 92 weeks. Next one, please.
Yeah, just before next slide, I just wanted to ask, in terms of the new migration strategy, where they've kind of like put some restriction on age, right? I'm not sure. I'm not just trying to confirm if you're aware as well. Like the age factor,
Yes.
like if you're older than 35, what does that, how does that play into this?
Yes, that new law will be enacted by July, but as we speak, it's not in place yet. A lot of debate is still going on. Hopefully, they said from July, any person that is over 35 years will not be able to get this postgraduate visa. So that is going to be tricky. And it also says that if you have completed your study, maybe you've done a bachelor's in accounting, your next course will be master's in accounting. You have to have a course, do a career progression, and you are not allowed to stay here. You have to go back to your home country and apply for that course again and come back. So it's going to be a bit tougher. So that's why, like I said, age is becoming important now. So you have to watch that as well, so that you know your options, your way out, so that you do. But for those of you that are already here, that loss will not actually affect you because you've already come here before the law will be enacted, which is going to be July. So for those of us already here studying now, we are safe. But for those people that will be coming in after July 1st, so that law is going to be in place and it will affect them going forward.
Great. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, so this one is for skilled migration, wherever you are, any part of the world. So this one is the real thing, most of us, because after your studies, this is where you come into. After you've completed your studies in Australia, you come to this point. Then if you are in overseas, you've not studied at all, you're interested in coming to Australia as a skilled migrant, you also fall into this category. So this one, we got the subclass 189, is independent visa, we call it the point-based visa stream, as well as the subclass 190 is still point-based, and it is a state nomination. Then we have this subclass 491, is still point-based, it's regional nomination. So those areas where they have less people and they want people to migrate there to work and live in that region. So we're going to talk detail as we progress on that. So these visas, they all provide pathway to permanent residence. And in fact, it's 491 provide pathway. You stay 3 years on that, then you qualify for permanent residency. 190 is permanent residency straight. 189 is permanent residency straight. Once you get them, you're already a permanent resident, except the 491.
Sweet.
Can we quickly address the question in the chat box? So someone says, can you apply for the graduate visa if your student visa ends in September, but your completion is November?
Your completion is November and your student visa ends in September. Yes, if your student visa ends in September, you can still apply for a new visa. We call it extension, visa extension, for you to be able to complete your course in November. Then that new rules coming, it's not still affecting you because you've already been here, so you're not getting a new COE.
Okay. Somebody's asking about tourist visa. I think we'll address that afterwards. Okay. So let's crack on with state nomination visa for 90.
Great. So we are on the state nomination visa. 190 is one of the best visa we can think of because, like I said, it leads you to PR, straight permanent residency. So some of these states and territories offer this nomination program for skilled migrants. So if you've got some skills that are really in need in that particular area, so you qualify for this visa, but you need to get at least 65 points. So we get to how to get your points later on.
Mm. So I think that's a good time to actually answer this question.
Yeah.
So there's a question here saying that how do I know where my job role falls under? Oh, falls under 189, 190. and person has got master's work experience for an international company.
Yeah, we can go detail after. That is the essence of I'm giving a general
Okay, yeah.
overview. So when we start talking details, when you consult us, then we'll start looking at those one by one. But generally, that's what we call skilled occupation lists. That is the general one for the federal, like a federal one. Then there is the state one, and there is the regional one. So that is some of we the experts. We know all these occupations that are peculiar to a particular region. So you can actually come to us, then we will evaluate your CV, then we know where you fall into, and we'll be able to provide the advice and see how we can help you to achieve your dreams.
Good.
So I think this was the eligibility. That is the requirement for the 491 visa, the regional visa. You must score 50 points by yourself. You must have a competent English, which is a score of IELTS of 6 or PT of 50. You must be under 45 years of age and have a valid skill assessment. So this skill assessment is the key, is the catch. Whether you study here or you don't study here, you must come to this point of the skill assessment. So this is the first step, actually, in achieving your dream. You may have all the experience in the world, 20 years work experience, but if you do not have a positive skill assessment, you cannot progress. A skill assessment is they are assessing your qualification or your work experience to match the Australian standard. That's what we call framework. Just like they are evaluating, looking at your transcript, whether it matches with their own transcript, their own. When you say maybe you finish mechanical engineering in Nigeria, so they want to see their own mechanical engineering here, whether the subject you've done in school is the same as what they are also doing here, because you want to come and work here as a mechanical engineer. Same thing with accounting. I want to see all those courses you did in accounting, does it match with what they have here? So that is this key assessment, which is very, very key and is the first step. If you don't have this key assessment done, we cannot do anything, like I said. So from this key assessment, it's going to add to your points. That gives you how to get your points. You get your points with this skill assessment, adding to your points, your age, add to the point, and your work experience, if it's assessed, also add to the point, and your IELTS, this English that many of us are running away from, it also add to your points. Whether we like it or not, we must not run away from that IELTS. It's very key. Next slide, please.
Sweet.
So this is also employer-sponsored visa. This one is also the kind of visa that you can actually get when you have relevant skill that the employer need. Also, this one is so key, but you also need to, the most important thing here is employer letter. You must be able to have an employer that's ready to sponsor you for that particular job. So the 1A6 as well as the 4A2, so they all lead to permanent residence after spending some years, 3 years or 4 years, depending. So it's the most difficult one, but it's also achievable if you got the required skill and all the assessments that is required for that. Next slide, please. So eligibility for that, as I said, you must have the offer letter. Yeah, you must also be in the right age. You must also meet the required points, as well as have the valid skill assessment for that occupation.
Yep. Okay. So just before we crack on, does anybody have, so I think it would be a good time to just take some questions. We will still have opportunity at the end as well, around. But do you have any question, so we can try to address them here? Okay. Glory is saying, what do you do when your work experience doesn't sync with your first and second degree?
Yes, that is a good thing about Australia. I think I have got some good number of people that with some examples to show on that. That's what they may say your chosen occupation or closely related. There are some occupations that are closely related but may not be exactly what you have done. So if you're able to show that, okay, maybe you study mathematics and you are now working in IT, so you can actually be assessed by that body, but you are going to require a number of years, maybe 6 years, since if your course is not directly related. So it can be done, but there must be a little bit of resemblance or closeness for you to be able to cross that hurdle. But it's not completely not possible. It's doable, but when we evaluate your situations, we're able to advise better.
Right. So another question is saying that, can we give some ways or ideas on how to get employer-sponsored visa? Well, first thing is to get a job
Yeah,
offer.
yes. Yeah, it's quite tricky because some of these employers, they are not actually, if you Google them, you can't even see them. So they are hidden somewhere. So it also takes experts, professionals like us to be able to recognize some of them and approach them and let them know, okay, we've got some workers. Like I said, it's highly competitive, yeah, but it's not impossible. Mostly if they try their best and then they are not seeing people in that in that job, so they'll be able to look at you mostly when you are in overseas. But when you are here, it's a bit easier, but it's still difficult. Yeah.
Just to add on top of that, so because again, we are an Australian-based company as well. So the process when we inquired basically is that you need to have a need, first of all. Like, the mindset is, can you find workers already in Australia that can do the job? If the answer is yes, then there's no point sponsoring somebody from overseas, right? So you first of all, there must be a demand. It must be almost that there's no skill for that in Australia. Now, that is again not entirely correct, because people still get jobs, you know, and come here to Australia through employers. But it also speaks to demand. Like, this job, is there a skill shortage? Is there a demand for it? Maybe, for example, developers, they've checked, because another thing an employer must do is to advertise that job on Seek, or our local platform here, and do that for at least 30 days, to be sure that they can't find anybody to fill the role before it's now a compelling evidence to then say, we need to hire somebody abroad, right? And kind of like then try to work out all the visa and all those things. But the first stage is the employer must be qualified. They must have that employer they must be able to sponsor somebody from overseas. So there are some eligibility criteria for the employer as well, for the company. They must have a need, they must have a structure that support that. So you can't just be a new company, you don't even have money to employ to employ two employees. You want to sponsor people overseas. Like, that's not gonna fly anywhere. So because Australia still wants to protect the local economy, they want to make sure that people here have opportunities. So the first thing is to check, sorry, to check Do we have people that can do this job here? If the answer is yes, then no brainer. Like you should hire people locally. Don't go abroad. So that's why companies don't want to stress. For them to stress, you must be high demand. You must be able to add value that they've struggled to find or fill for that role. So that is the thinking. You must also think about the employer. Like, how is the employer thinking? So I'm just giving you as somebody that has experience in that field. You will not just go overseas and sponsor somebody if you can do it here, right? So I hope that provided a bit more context.
Yeah,
So
very
first
clear.
of all, yeah, that's why Mr. Graeber is saying that it's difficult to find. There's no secret list. You can literally check LinkedIn and kind of use keyword search, business analyst, employer with visa sponsorship. You see that the list is very small, but you might be lucky. But the other thing is that if a local also applied to that job, right, they will not call you. They just hire locally. And if they indeed want to hire labor overseas, they can do remote. These days, remote job is a real thing. They can just say, okay, you contract for us, we give you, offer. It's even going to be cheaper for us. Then you do the job. Except, of course, you must do the job in person. That's when some companies will say, okay, we need to hire this person and bring them to Australia, because there's that question of can they do the job remotely as well? If they can, then just give them the contract. They can do it from their own country. So just to give you more perspective, it's not like you cannot get employer sponsor visa, but you have to have a differentiation. You must be able to have a skill that is scarce or very like in high demand, and employer are craving for that skill. They are struggling to get it locally. That is when it will make sense for employer to actually sponsor you. So I hope that kind of like gave you more context. All right.
Yeah. Are we still taking questions or we're proceeding?
I think we'll take one more if we
All
have one.
right, I've got a question in my direct message. So the question says, can engineering management and business administration lead to permanent residency? This person would like to know because they came to Australia last month, and her husband is currently studying engineering management and business administration. So they would like to know if it's a waste of time or if they're on the right path.
Mm.
Yeah, that one is a bit tricky. Yeah, engineering management is actually on the skilled list. Yeah, but adding the business something to it, yeah, that's what except is they're separate. But anyway, it's also a function of what they have done before. If what they have done before is related and their previous work experience, so we can advise based on that. But
Okay.
engineering management is something on the skill list here that
The
can
person
lead to
has work,
permanent residence.
oh, that's good. The person has work experience in both electrical engineering and information technology. So
Yeah.
they're trying to marry the experience. So there would be need to do an evaluation of their circumstance, of their situation, right?
Yes, so they have to come to us after the meeting. Yeah, that should the previous experience is highly relevant. Yeah, and the previous study. Yeah.
Yeah. So all these nuance situation will be best evaluated, following consultation with Mr. Graeber. So afterwards, right? All right. So it's time to just talk about sync skills. Um, Taya, do you want to run through this?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you everyone. So basically, I know that a couple of you had some questions around, what you're studying and if there's relevance. I think I could see some people talk about them having done business analyst for 4 years etc. So wanting to know the assessment, but really, where we kind of, fit into this whole puzzle at Sync Skills is if you've got, if you've done any IT related course prior and you're struggling to, gain employment, for example, in the IT space to increase your chances of getting your PR, this may be, something you want to consider, right? But overarching as Sync Skills, we offer you, end-to-end support in form of training. So you may want to, explore career opportunities, as business analyst, scrum master, or product owner. And you may ask, why do we actually do this? What's the reasoning behind this? Why do I leave what I'm doing? Like, I earn a lot of money, or maybe you work in the health sector at the moment, or maybe you work in care, etc. The reasoning, the one big reason why we do what we do currently is because we've noted a massive gap, right? The skills shortage in Australia, we've noted a massive gap. We've also noted specifically the underrepresentation of African immigrants, especially in high skilled jobs. And for us, it's a problem. It's a fluke that can be solved, right? And we try to solve this, through our instructor-led session. A very quick story, that I like to really share with people is because, so most times a lot of people come into the country, they come on maybe a student visa, for example. They find themselves just doing some jobs to get by. They find themselves doing low skill jobs because they're in the studying and they don't have the right the hours required, or they don't know the hour, right? After they finish their student visa, they still keep doing the same job on, work visa. They still keep doing low skill jobs, even as permanent resident or even as citizens of Australia. We want to change this. We want Africans in Australia to target high skilled jobs. We want them to find, secure opportunities in the corporate space. Now, how do we do this? We do this through our 10 weeks instructor-led training. This is all done virtually. And we take you through all the nitty-gritty of what you require to actually succeed in this role. For us, it's more than just the training. Okay. So it's more than just, let's just get you on board and train you. The main focus is to get you job ready. At the end of the training, we want you to be employable, which is why we have a lot of strategies in place that will, position you to be able to secure a job upon the completion of this training. So if you can see the visual on the screen, it's literally the process. So you move on from your training, which is not, you're not just trained by, unqualified people, you're being trained by qualified professionals, people that work in Australia. We all work in Australia. All your facilitators are working in Australia. We know exactly what the industry is looking for. We know exactly the things that, you can say to a recruiter that will instantly make you sound and look attractive. Competency is key for us. So you will be coached through this process. We have a roadmap to success, which is, our end-to-end solution. So with your training, we'll support you with the training bit, which is for 10 weeks. And then we move into, preparing for your certification. Bear in mind, because again, we know that a lot of people they've gone ahead and done several certifications left, right, and center, which is not something that has helped them because they haven't been able to build their skills. So for us, certification is not the first thing. It comes after the completion of your training. The reasoning again behind that is because it makes you look super attractive. Now, sometimes, right, if or when it comes down to two amazing candidates, like that could be a differentiating factor for you because they've got these two skilled people. One has got a certification, one doesn't. Instantly makes you the go-to person. And then we go into, what we also have in form of our weekly interview preparations. Again, we've also noted that a lot of people, do not have the confidence, or some people are, requiring some work to be able to actually speak to what a recruiter need. So we ensure that you're best placed. We coach you, simulate a real life experience of what potentially you could get asked during your training. So we run all these sessions. So you begin to build your skills. You begin to get into the system where you know exactly how to answer questions. Even something as simple as tell me about yourself, you'd be shocked at how that can make a difference in an interview. If from the beginning you just flunk that question and you haven't said the right thing or you haven't sold yourself, right? So basically, what we do is we'll teach you on how to market yourself. Take, for instance, if someone wants to sell a product to you and they're trying to tell you, oh, I want you to buy this, nice Chanel bag, right? If they've just said, oh, I have a bag that I'm selling, you're not going to be attracted. But if they give you a nice story, package it nicely, you'll be, even if you don't have the money, you may be tempted to, speak to people and, okay, I really like this, but I like what this person is telling me, right? So we'll build your skills so you can market yourself properly to a recruiter, and, there won't be a better person for that job than yourself. Of course, we, have as part of our portfolio building support comes your resume, your LinkedIn optimization, your Seek profile optimization. These are job profiles that would help you build so your professional outlook is, representing everything that you've learned. Now, to the massive icing on the cake, which is what we call our Tech Accelerator program, we have, our virtual apprenticeship where you get to actually work with or work on real life product. I'll tell you a very quick story. Now, we had a student who, by the way, has got 2 contracts in her bag, and I remember this call very vividly because she came out of her interview and she said, oh, Taya, I went to this interview and I spoke about the project that I'm working on. So she spoke about the solution that she's building alongside her team. She spoke about it so passionately. Even though the solution is not live yet, she spoke about it in a way that they were so convinced. And that was a differentiating factor for her. And for someone, even though that was not the first job for her, that's a second contract. She likes all the she does prefer that job because of all the perks that comes with it. What am I trying to say? The reasoning behind these strategies that we have in place, they all have a function. So the Tech Accelerator program builds your skills, like builds your confidence, makes you go out there to speak to recruiters from a place of experience. Remember, there's theory and there's practical. Like if you wanted to learn how to drive, for example, would you rather just read how to drive, or will you get into the car and actually have someone support you while you're learning all the controls or the cursors, etc.? So that's the thinking, and we know that this is a proven strategy. This has worked. Now when you secure a 6-figure job, we are still going to support you, which is what we call one-on-one job support. Now we find out like a lot of people do not really require this support because they have followed the process. But if you do, that's fine. We actually love it. If you do require, maybe you've done something on the job, you just want someone to give you some form of validation or even hold your hand and say, okay, I've done this thing. Am I on the right path? Was there anything that I could add to make this even spicier, right? So you just want to give it your best at all times. So we do offer that. In essence, what I'm trying to communicate is we offer you end to end, we hold your hand all the way, through our training. And like we have on the board, on the screen rather, all we request for is 6 hours of your time weekly. So 3 hours on Thursday and 3 hours on Friday. And you may wonder, why do I need 2 classes? The reasoning behind us having 2 different classes is because they are categorized into 2. The Thursday class is what we call the skill building session. Some of you who are trying to transition to tech, so we've noted that again, some people don't, they don't have some of those subtle skills or some of those soft skills that whilst they seem very obvious, there are people who they've never, scheduled a meeting before. They've never done any form of presentation. They don't know how to manage their stakeholders properly. Even something as simple as time management when presenting, they don't have that skill yet. So we empower you to build those skills in our skill building session. And then the other 3-hour part of the class, which is the next day, which is the Friday class, is to go into the actual details of all you need to work and to succeed as a business analyst or as a scrum master or as a product owner. Now all these classes are online, like I've said, they are done virtually. So we have all the other extra details. Of course, you have to, work on the assessment that you need to present, and you get to join our community. If you've got questions, by all means, please pop in the comment section. We will,
Yeah.
we'll answer your questions. But yeah, this is if
Amazing.
go to the next slide, we also have some
Yeah.
offerings for you, or if you know someone that is interested. As part of giving back as well, we do have a 5% limited offer that we're giving to anyone who is interested. So we have a new class starting on the 18th of April, and this is fast selling. Trust me, guys. One thing I'll leave you with, if you don't remember anything that I've said, is this is going to be a massive, massive investment. If you're paying the fee that we're asking for you to get a six-figure job, right? I think we can all agree that it's a win-win. So you're not targeting 50,000 per annum jobs. We're talking 100, upwards of 100, 120, 130. And it is possible. I haven't mentioned one key thing. These are no code tech roles that I'm talking about. So I'm talking about business analysis, Scrum Master, and product owner. They've got low barrier to entry, which is why we love them. You don't need to have a background in tech, for example. You do not need to have done IT before. Personal experience, I studied professional accounting, so human resource management, that's my turn. Always been in the arts and accounting, and today I work as a senior business analyst. So what I'm trying to say is it is achievable with the right mindset, with you being, sync skills. We can really achieve a lot together. Someone's asking the courses to be taken. So, the business analyst, you're probably not familiar with them, but I will type them for
Yeah.
you. And yes, so if you've got any
Thank
questions, like I said, please pop in the comment section. And you want to take advantage of this offer because it's limited.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
it from me. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much. Couldn't have said that better. Thank you so much, Tayo, our delectable Tayo. Anyway, let's crack on. I want us to do something now. So if you've been here, thank you for joining. I think we've been talking about different pathway visas that you can explore if you're offshore, if you're onshore. I want you to type in something on the chat. Tell us something you know about Australia, or why you want to actually, migrate to Australia. What have you heard or seen? Because I know that you're here because of that. So let's pop it in the chat before we talk about some other type of visas. What interests you about Australia? Kangaroos. Oh yeah.
I was expecting that to pop up at some point. I think we
Yeah.
need to demystify that because a lot of people don't actually know the goodness that Australia carries. Like a lot of people don't have that clue.
Yeah, shorter study length. Okay. Minimum wage. Yeah, Australia has some of the most highest minimum wage in the world. So yeah, since it's small. Okay, Australia has large land mass, by the way, but it is small in terms of population compared to Nigeria, of course. Work-life balance, well, that's relative, depending on the type of work you do. So if
Yes.
you work in tech, then yeah, but if you work in shift-based work, they tell you, um, yeah, so somebody asked about our track record, right? So that's an important question. So yeah, we've been doing this for 1 year, 6 months now in Australia. We've helped a lot of people. You can check our page, our website for success stories, about people that have gone through this program and are now successful. Some of them are on the call actually. So if you know them, find them. If you don't know them, I think I'll ask Tolu and Tayo to please pop in our socials on the chat so you can refer to it, and then you can see the training fee as well there. But thank you for that question.
So
Amazing, amazing. but we can guarantee you that anything you invest on the course, you get times 100 like continuously for life. So it's a transformational effect. And all the people that have gone through the program will tell you that it's value for money. All right. So no language barrier. Yeah, especially if you are coming from Nigeria, English speaking
English
countries. Yeah,
country.
yeah. And food. You can actually enjoy a variety of food, African, Asian, Mexican, security and stability. Amazing. Yes, absolutely. All right, great. So let's crack on, Mr. Gabriel. Let's talk about a few more visas. And then yeah.
Great. Thanks, Tayo, for that wonderful presentation. Great. So
Sorry,
moving on
I
now,
have a
that's what we
question on
call
the.
this specialist visa. I call them specialist because of the opportunity they offer and the speed at which you can get them. This one is called the GTI, Global Talent Independent Program. This first two program, we call it Global Talent Visa, the subclass 858, then the Distinguished Talent Visa, subclass 124. Then there's another one just below it, the Highly Skilled and Talented Stream. These visas are actually new. I think the Global Talent started 2019 ending, I think August, September. Then I was one of the first people that got that visa, actually got that visa. So I can tell you more about that if we consult. Within 4 to 6 weeks, people were getting the visa, even 3 weeks. Yeah.
Can you just like kind of share your experience? Just maybe we have somebody here that's highly skilled like you were. Just share your
Yes.
experience about, your situation, how you got the visa, all of that.
Great. Good experience. So the Global Talent Visa, the 858, when you are already in Australia, then the distinguished one, the 124, when you are offshore. So same visa stream and same thing. So actually, when I came in as well, I've completed some study back from home. I came with some degrees, diploma in chemical engineering and bachelor's in mechanical engineering. Then coming here, that is the flexibility and the switching I did. I came here because I did a bit of oil and gas. I came in as to study petroleum engineering. On getting here, I discovered that there was no single petroleum in this place. So I have to I have to switch immediately to materials engineering. Because I did some job in Nigeria, oil and gas, pipeline corrosion and all that. But I also checked after some few months, I discovered that it was not a high demand skill. Immediately, within a space of 6 months, I changed again to another course. So construction project management, because a lot of construction is going on here. So I finished that one. Then I also discovered that then renewable was a bit coming up. Immediately, I pick up another postgraduate in renewable energy. So immediately I finished that, I got my first job as a project engineer in a solar farm. In getting that, then I was already moved to the regional visa, the 491 visa. I've already moved to go and start getting that to the regional area, got my 50 points. But then this visa just came 2019, like I said, and I finished my studies in 2019. So in January 2020, I got my first job. Then one of the conditions for this visa is you have to have a job that is earning around 148,000. Then now it should be around 160. It was not a hard and fast rate. They said you have the potential to earn such money. Then I wasn't earning such money. I was below that. But I was able to package my statement in a way that, okay, since as a project engineer now, in my next role, I'm going to move on to management role. So I will have the capacity to earn that specific amount in the next year, on the next 2, on the next 3 years. So that was how I was able to package that statement, it's SOP, and I submitted that with some evidence of job I've done. Then within a couple of weeks, I got that global talent visa. So you may, wherever you are in the world, you've got the required work experience, you've got some qualifications, then you can actually qualify for that visa, even if you are not earning exactly what they say you should earn. So if you have the capacity to earn it, if you've got a master's in those fields, and some of those fields profession are resources, agri-food and agri-technology, energy, health industry, defense, advanced manufacturing and space, circular economy, digital tech, infrastructure and tourism, finance, service and fintech, as well as education. So those are the kind of professions that are open to the global talent. So if you have great experience and good qualifications, if you have a PhD, fantastic in those fields, you qualify for that kind of a visa. Yeah, that was my experience. Then next slide, please.
Yeah,
Thank you.
just
So
on
that is about that. I think I've covered that global talent.
We have someone who would like
Yep.
to share their
So
global
the highly skilled.
experience.
I'm sorry, Mr. Gabriel. Somebody wants to can somebody wants to share experience on that?
Yes. Dr. Dakwa would like to share his global because he's a recipient of that visa as well. If
Oh,
he would
sweet.
like to
Okay.
share his
Yeah.
experience in here in a few minutes.
All right, Dr. Dakpo. Amazing. Always smiling. Our doctor, please share your experience.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Well, I came to Australia to study a PhD, so I think that facilitated getting the Global Talent Program in 2020. I think the first time I heard about it was in, I think I got the code under 2 weeks, February of 2020, but I didn't apply because of some family needs until July. But the whole processing, because I had some delays with my daughter's passport then, so it took us by 3 months. But I have friends that got it in 2 weeks then. But the high point is this. If you have a PhD, if you have someone in Australia who's going to nominate you and you are like exceptional in your field and you can identify that you can attract those high salaries, those are some of the. It's getting very competitive now in the last couple of years. But within the first year, 2019, 2020, it was very, very fast. Now, I have friends who have put in for it, but they've been waiting for like months. So it's actually one of the viable means of getting a permanent residency in Australia.
Thank you so much. That's so powerful. And it just speaks to skills, which we always, preach here at Think Skills. Like, if you have skills, you can never go wrong. Like, you can't go wrong. You always win. And it's not just Australia. So UK has similar program. I think Canada also do. So yeah, just make sure you position yourself, and you can also be a beneficiary of all of this amazing opportunity. Thank you so much, Dr. Dakwo.
Interestingly, I graduated as a domestic student, because I got my PR before I finished my PhD then.
Wow. Wow. So you didn't pay a lot of money anymore.
My scholarship had actually finished. So,
Oh.
but my status changed on the university portal to domestic student.
Wow. Wow.
That's
Brilliant.
amazing.
Brilliant. and it also speaks to time as well. So, like you need to always, you've seen that the element of time played a lot of factor. Now it's more competitive, there's a lot of competition. But in anything you want to do in life, really, I always believe that you need to be fast. Like, make sure you don't do analysis paralysis, or like position yourself for opportunity before it becomes like competitive and is more difficult. They took the step. He even applied before he finished his studies, right? And he got it before he finished, and I think that's amazing. Not many people actually get such opportunity. So well done, sir. Maybe you share tips with me as well. All right. Oh, great. Let's crack on.
Yeah, thanks for that. So talking about time, so that's why we have to quickly move the next one, the highly skilled, for the South Australia, the highly skilled visa is actually one that we need to quickly, it's a new one. We have to take advantage of that now. And this one actually is a direct permanent residence as well, 190. Then if you can't get it, you have to get 65. If you can't get 65, you can also, if you get 50 points, you can get the 491, but it still fall under the same highly skilled and talented. So it's also new. This is the best time to take advantage of it, get straight permanent residence as well. So you can be any part of the world, in Australia, in Nigeria, and you can have this job when you have the compulsory thing is that you have to have 2 years of work experience in your field. 2 years of work experience in your field, then you have to have a score of 65 by yourself. At the end of this thing, I walk you through how to get your points. Some of you already have point 65, you don't even know. All you just need is to get your positive skill assessment and you jump on these opportunities. So you have to be competent in English, which means you have to have 6 in IELTS as well as or 50, which is in PT, which is equivalent, and the right age of 45 years, have a valid skill assessment, like I said, 2 years of work experience in that chosen field. Next slide, please.
Yeah, just one question. I know we're cognizant of time. Do you think that remote work also counts for this experience?
Yes, because you can be in any part of the world as long as you're able to show employment letter with evidence of payment. Evidence of payment, pay slip, bank statement where you receive your salary. It shows that location is not an issue, even if you work online or IT jobs, wherever you are.
The salary, must it be, is there a threshold for the salary you must receive?
No threshold for this one. This is the good thing about this, but there's a threshold for the global talent, but for this, there's no threshold. But like
Right.
I said, even the threshold for the global talent is still flexible. It's just saying you have a capacity to earn what they are saying. If you are earning below that, you are still covered. Yeah. Like he said, he was doing PhD, was not earning anything. Yeah.
So our adjusting solution people, you can. All right. I think you spoke about this as well. Some of the.
And next slide, please. Let us quickly run through the occupations that are open for this distinguished channel. Oh, yeah. So if you are in any of these occupation, AI, artificial intelligence specialist, 5G network, advanced manufacturing, artificial intelligence, biotechnology research, like people lecturing at the university in terms of biotechnology, blockchain, cybersecurity, quantum computers, computing scientists, renewable energy engineer is very popular now, robotics engineer, data science, cloud architect, AI specialist, Internet of All Things, that is virtual reality developer. It might not be exactly here, but if it's related, it can also count. Yeah, it might not just be, yeah, maybe
So
programming, something programming, as long as it's in IT, even if it's not captured directly, but if
yeah.
it's closely related to any of these occupation, so you're still qualified for that.
So
I
if you're a
think,
business analyst and you're working on an AI project, for example, you should be able to
yes,
claim something like on this. Yeah. Okay,
yes,
great. All right. Yeah.
yes, sure. Great. So the visa PRO benefits, yeah, we should know all this. Stay in Australia permanently, work and study in Australia, enroll in Australia public health care scheme, insurance, Medicare, sponsor family relatives to come to Australia, travel to and from Australia, yeah, for 5 years. That is when you're permanent resident. After you become citizen, you can travel forever, and you are still a citizen and come back. You don't have issues. If eligible, apply for Australian citizen. Yep. After 4 years, on a good day, if you have spent 4 years in Australia, you qualify for citizen. Yeah, then you can bring your family members as well.
Yeah.
So lastly, let me just, like I said, let me run us through how to get the points. For the points, what takes the points are a few items: the age, your English, your education, your work experience, your partner's age, sorry, your partner's occupation and English competence. For age, if you are between 18 and 25, you have 25 points. It used to be 24. Then if you are between 25 and 33, you have maximum point of 30. The maximum point you can get for age is 30. Then if you are now between 33 and 40, you drop 5 points again, you come to 25. Then if you are between 40 and 45, you have 15 points, which is the
Do you
last
want to share?
stage.
Do you want to share your screen on that?
No, I don't have this. I don't have.
Okay,
It's not
no worries.
documented. I just reading it. So it's not
No worries.
on the slide. Yeah. So we can. Yeah. Once they come to us, we can easily share that. Then for English, if you got your IELTS of 8 or PT of 79 in each band, you have 20 points, which is the maximum points for English language. Then if you have 7 in IELTS in each band, you've got 10 points or 65 equivalent PTE. Then for education, if you have a PhD, you got 20 points. That is now when you study outside Australia, you have to have the assessment. That is the assessment we're talking about. After you've been assessed, that is when you can claim the points. So if you have bachelor's or master's, you have 15 points. If you have a diploma, then you've got 10 points. If you have a certificate for, you've got 10 points. Then work experience. If you have overseas work experience, if you have 3 years, less than 3 years work experience, that is minimum of 3 years, you've got 5 points. That is after it has been assessed as well. You can't just claim it without assessing it by the assessing body. Then if you have 5 years and above, minimum of 5 years, have 10 points. Minimum of 8 years, you've got 15 points. So that is for overseas work experience. For Australia work experience, 5 points for 1 year, I think 3 years for 10 points, 5 years for 15 points, 8 years for 20 points. Then if you have a specialist education for Australia, by Australia qualification, maybe research in master's in research in biological science, chemical sciences, earth sciences, mathematical sciences, you got extra 5 points for that. Then if you also study in Australia, if you complete 2 years of study in Australia, you've got 5 points. Then if you study in regional area, you have 5 points. Then if you also for accounting and other people that does professional here, you have 5 points. Then partner, if your partner has a positive skill assessment, maybe your partner study engineering or accounting or geology, anything that can be assessed, it has 10 points added to your points. And then if your partner also have 6 in IELTS competent, that is extra 5 points added to your points. So if you do all that, you already see that some of us may have 65 points already or 50 points at minimum. So all we need to do is to come to us privately, we evaluate your situation, and we advise you appropriately. Thank you.
All right.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So any more question? I know we've been answering your questions. Any specific questions? Does anybody want to unmute and ask questions now? Is the time.
Okay, I think Mr. Gabriel, someone asked earlier around how do you determine, can you give an example of a tier 1, tier 2 university? And they made an example. They said, i.e. Torrance, James Cook, etc. Like if someone is studying in a tier 3 university, what's the impact on them being able to, I don't think I'm not quite sure what the person was trying to find out, but they're trying to find out tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So do you have any view on that? What are tier three universities and if there's any impact in relation to PR?
No, what the tier one, tier two, and tier three, they don't have impact when you are already here or whatever you are studying. So it doesn't determine or impact your permanent residency. It only have impact now because of what Nigerian students are passing through. Nigerians, technically, I don't think they're in the best book of immigration. So level 2 and level 3, the Torrance and the James Cook and all that, yeah, the visa refusal is very high now. So that's why we advise them to go to tier one, which are the school like UNSW, UTS, Griffith,
Australia.
yeah, University of Western Australia, Murdoch, and all that. So the difference is in tier one, is higher. You are asked to pay initial deposits of $15,000 to $20,000 to get COE, compared to tier two and tier three before, where you have to pay 8,000 or 7,500 or 10,000 to get COE, which is confirmation of enrollment. So that is the only difference. Because of what we are passing, experiences we are having now, we're advising our students to do tier one so that they don't have visa refusals. So that is just the difference. But once you're already here, you can even come at tier one and change to tier two when you're already here to pay less fees and all that. The most important thing is that doing the right course that is going to lead to permanent residency at the end of the day.
All right, thank you. There's a question. Is human resources part of the occupations for global talent visa?
It depends on your qualification. Human resource, it's not directly stated as part of it, but if you are doing a course recently, a part of that thing must have been finish your master's or PhD in the last 2 years, because what they are trying to achieve is, as you are working, you are in tune with the current day technology, what is happening in the industry, the new advancement, how you can apply your learnings to solve the problem in the society, in the regional areas. Yeah, but like I said, human resource is not directly stated in the global talent.
Okay, another question says, for someone who studied agriculture economics, is there possible opportunity for them?
Yes, there is a great opportunity for agri economists. Yeah. So we can evaluate them later. Yeah.
Okay. So we're saying they don't necessarily need to explore student visa pathway from Nigeria. There are better opportunities that they can explore based on what they've studied, based on agriculture economics, correct?
Yes, they can. They're already here.
No,
Already here
they're
or in
offshore.
Nigeria.
Offshore, Nigeria.
Offshore. Offshore, yeah. If they have a reasonable work experience that can be assessed, why not?
Like how many years are we thinking? 3 to 4 or 10?
Yeah, well, to be eligible, first you have to have a minimum of 1 year work experience in the field. But why we focus on getting more work experience is the more work experience you get, the more points you get. So, but just for minimal marginal assessment, you need 1 year work experience. Apart from computer, anything have to do with ACS, anything IT related, you need minimum of 2 years. But for engineering students, you don't even need work experience. We can assess your qualification directly. But for you to get more points, that's why we encourage you bring in work experience so that we can assess that you can add to your points since you are coming from overseas. Because when you're coming from overseas, you're actually limited. You don't have the option of claiming points for study here, professional here, and all that. You are technically tied down to like four areas of getting points. Your qualification when it's assessed, your age, your eye health, and maybe your partner. So So if you are overseas, so you are tied down to like 4 areas to claim points. That's why the more the work experience you have, and it can be assessed to increase your points.
Wow, that's good. Thank you. So there's someone who currently lives in, okay, I don't know where they live, but maybe I'm assuming they live in South Australia. They've studied business information system, but they don't have a work experience. Are they qualified for the South Australia package or whatever immigration strategy that you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, if they can get now, they can qualify for the normal South Australia Regional 491 since they don't have the work experience. The work experience is key for the talent visa, the South Australian talent, but they can be assessed and definitely come up with 50 points. Once they have 50 points, they qualify for the regional visa in South Australia because South Australia is considered as regional area. So the only 3 areas that are not regional areas in Australia are Sydney, Melbourne, and Greater Brisbane.
Right.
So every other location is regarded as regional Australia, and they qualify for the 491.
And also, thank you, Mr. Gabriel. So I think that was Bola Ahmed that asked that question. This person is currently in Sydney. So given that you've studied business information system, I think you've got varied options. It depends on how much time you have left. So that's another context. But I think that you can definitely secure a job, as a business analyst. So I'm not sure what your current situation is, but we certainly can work together. We have a lot of people that have gone through this training, even in Tasmania. We had a student who, particularly for this purpose, needed to get a job as a BA, right? So this person moved from South Australia to Tassie. They got a job as a business analyst. So he's working in his field, and that increased his chances. So rather than chase 491, he's chasing, his permanent residency directly. So you've got a great opportunity there to get yourself trained. If you do require, if you need assistance with securing a job as a business analyst, we certainly can help you with that. But I think that there's massive opportunity in there for you to explore. We can work together. But Ahmed, if that's something that suits you.
Yeah. What is the president of Nigeria doing on this call? I'm just curious.
Who? Oh, we have
Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Like, is that your real name?
Oh, that's true.
No,
I didn't quite deep that.
okay. All right, no worries. I think John.
We've got John. John,
Yeah.
feel free to.
Can you hear me? Good morning.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. I dropped the question actually earlier, but it's like they've attended to it and I didn't get that. I want to ask for someone who traveled to Australia with a tourist visa, is there a way tourist visa can be converted to working visa?
Good question.
Okay. Yeah, tourist visa. Yeah, you have the opportunity of changing to student visa. At least, yeah, that is cool. We do that as well. Once you're already here, we can quickly convert you, help you to get into school. Yeah, but I don't think you can easily get it converted to working visa. That will be a very long one, but we can actually help you to convert to student visa if you are in that situation.
All right. Thank you very much.
Cool. So let me wait. Any more question before I whet your appetite? For those
good morning. Mister, I have a question.
All right, ask your question.
Okay. Good morning, everybody, and thank you again for this this question. So I want to ask, please, can you guys help to secure the PhD admission for chemical engineering on scholarship?
Okay. Yeah, for PhD, we don't do that. It's the students that does that by him or herself. Because you have to go to the school and search for a lecturer that you think that is in your
Yeah.
field that you can work with, that you can send your proposals to. So it's normally done by students directly to the school. So just look for school you're interested in. So you can talk to us if later we can send you some schools that are doing chemical engineering that are very good. Then you can start talking to the lecturers and start sending email to them, and they start responding to you. Yeah.
Okay.
Just on
So
that, Mr.
okay.
Dapo,
Yeah, I
if
was just
Mr.
about to call him if he's got anything to
Mr.
share.
Dapo is our prof. Mr. Dapo, are you on the call? Like, do you have any advice based on your experience? Dr. Dapo, I said Mr. My apologies.
Why I didn't respond to
Well,
you.
I am still a mister, at least. So, well, let me say, sorry, can you go over the question again?
He's wanting help on applying to a PhD as it chemical engineering, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
chemical.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chemical engineering.
The step is this. You have to do let me say, the background work yourself. How I did it
Okay.
was I Googled through different universities. I looked at professors working in my area. So I sent them what I can call cold emails, like short emails with my resume.
Yeah.
And I tried to follow up with them. So you have to try, send to a couple of across different schools, even within the same school, across different program. I came from an Greek background. So I have to look for people, and my PhD was in food science and biotechnology. So I have to look for people in that area. So I had to write to different professors, and that was what I did. And I did it continuously for so long until I was able to get someone that was able to, let me say, buy into my proposal.
Yeah.
Do you have the timeline, Dr. Dakpo? Like, what was it? What did the timeline look like? Are we talking like 6 months, through
Well,
the proposal process, or what?
Interesting. Well, I was in Europe then because I was in my master's then, but it took me close to like 2 years to get someone. But it is different from individual. It depends on how fast or how well you get a professor who is able to take.
Oh, you're muted.
There's no definite timeline.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the more you can reach out to different people, the better, and try across different states. For instance, in Queensland, I applied to Melbourne. I actually had someone that wanted to take me University of New England, but there was no funding. Melbourne, New South Wales, and apply to different places and see how it goes.
Absolutely. I think that's
But
a
give
very
yourself
key
time.
advice.
I'm following it up. Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, sure. We can. Thank you. I think that's a very important question. First, but then that Dr. Dakpa has been able to give you some idea. You need to do is said PhD agents will not apply for you. You need to put in the work and try to get a professor because you don't want to pay for a PhD. You need somebody that would, bring you on board and sponsor you. So I wish Pastor was here. I think I saw Pastor earlier on. He would have also been able to add.
I did.
Yeah, I mean, he would have had a powerful advice for you, given that he had that same experience. Anyway, all good.
I've got one last question that we missed. So, Mr. Gabriel, someone was wanting to find out, is it possible to do skill assessment in 2 different fields?
Yes, it's possible, depending on what you want. You can actually do mostly in engineering. You can have electrical engineering, and you can be assessed as an electrical engineer. Then you can also be assessed as electrical technician or electrical engineering draftsman. So it's possible depending on your profession and what you want to achieve.
All right, thank you. Someone is asking, this person is 45 years old. So they're wanting to know what are the possible visa options suitable for them and their family.
Yeah, 45 is the finish line. Yeah. So yeah, so it's supposed to be open for all the visas, but once you cross 45, there's nothing you can do again except you are just visiting and all that. So yeah, that age, because even if you start the process before we finish the process, you are over 45. So at the end of the day, it's of no use anymore. Yeah, they
But
won't grant it.
can I spin that over? So what if they've got a partner who is maybe 38 or 40, and the partner is the main applicant and they're coming in as a dependent? What does that look like?
Yes, that is it. Yeah, that is the best option. Yeah, I was thinking you can go for that, even
Ah,
if you're 100 years, even
don't
if you're 100
remarry you.
years. Yeah,
No,
Don't
like
don't
their
you can
partner,
go
like
for
maybe
what?
not to remarry, but like if they've got a partner that is, under that age, the person can apply, then they can be like the dependent on that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yes. That's what we have. That's what we do. Yeah, a lot of
That's
people are
that's
in
an
that.
option for them.
Yeah, a lot of people are in that shoe now. I have got some people in that shoe now. They came to do PhD, and the male applicant was the man. He's just crossed 45 in the process of completing his PhD. He crossed 45. So we are helping the wife now to get a student visa so
Goodness.
that they can switch back to to the wife as the male applicant. Yeah.
All right.
Sweet. All
Thank
right.
you.
Before we take any more question, so just to nail what Tayo already talked about, so our training, our 3-month roadmap to success, with the core objective for us is that we want to get 500 more immigrants, to start working in tech, because today we have less than 3% of African immigrants working in tech. Even though a lot of people come here through study, they are educated. So like more than 70%, according to the research we did, of Africans are educated. They have at least BSc. But what has happened is they are working in skill level lower than what they should ideally be doing. Now we want to solve this problem with our 3-month roadmap, and then at the end of 2025, we want to make sure that at least 500 immigrants are now working in tech specifically, making good careers, shaping polished policies, so that when um, Australian, parliament wants to make a law decision, they consult the African community as well. Because we have the numbers now and we have a say and we're important. Right now, they don't look at us. They don't think about us when they are making policy decision, and that's because we don't have strength in this area. So we are very passionate to help people get ahead and become skilled immigrant and start to work in tech. So this is what that journey looks like. Taya already spoke about this. So 10 weeks training, certification, and all the importance of having that certification. And these are the type of certification that we support. ATS compliant resume. So we help you build resume that would get you the interviews, right? Which is your step to actually getting the job. Then we prep you for the interviews and make sure that we follow up on your application process. And the tech accelerator, Tayo already explained why that is so important. Then ongoing job support, we have community as well. And important thing is you can actually join our community for free. I think the link is in the chat. So if you want to stay in the know, you want to like hear from some people that are already successful and are working and have gone through this process, you want to hear from them just as a source of inspiration for you as well. Or maybe you have that doubt, is this working at all at this camp? You can join and hear from them, right? So a shared experience would maybe help you become more comfortable. And what is the cost? The cost of all of these things we've talked about is 3,000 AUD. We mentioned earlier we're giving a 5% discount on that amount. It's very time limited. But you can agree with us that if you go through this program, you then secure a 130,000 job, 140,000 job, 150,000 job. In that time, it is a great return on investment. And we've seen many, many people do that. Somebody will still get a job this week for entering. We had two people get it who got job last week as well. So if you're interested in the program, you have the code. We'll send this slide as well to you after the webinar. Before we take any more questions, just to water your appetite, if you can hear, this is a few.
Whenever you hear this word, all you can think is sunny blue beaches, golden sand, maybe a kangaroo or two hopping around. I also did the same. And I also thought that I will dedicate 2 months to just travel and see all of this country. I was never more wrong in my life. This country is not just beaches and sand. It is a lot more than that. Wild lush forests, amazing wildlife, amazing food, cuisine, culture. There is so much to see in this country that you will be short of time but not short of experiences. Having spent 5 years living and traveling around the country, I'll share all you need to know to plan your own trip to Australia. But before we start, I want to share some basic facts about the country which a lot of people are oblivious to. Number 1, Australia is a massive country and it is as big as United States of America. It consists of 8 different states and 6 time zones, and most of its population lives around the coast. It is also home to some of the world's best beaches, and if you want to see one beach every single day of your life, it's just going to take you 27 years to see them all. And to give you another perspective, if you're planning to go on a trip to the land down under, remember that a flight from East Coast to West Coast is almost 5 hours long. First things first, to enter Australia, you need a visa. And yes, every country needs a visa to enter Australia. Only New Zealand passport holders can get a visa on arrival. For tourism purposes, you can apply for Visitor Visa 600 that provides 3 to 12 months stay in the country and costs 150 Australian dollars. You have to be offshore to apply for this visa, and it is granted mostly within a month, but apply well in advance because you don't want to risk it. Application is online and you can apply through Department of Home Affairs website, and the visa is sent in an email. You don't need to submit your passport for that. And another interesting fact is that Australia does not stamp your passports. I have been in and out of the country multiple times. I don't have one stamp in my passport. They just scan it and that's it. You are good to go. The visa grant letter in your email is all you need to enter the country, and documents that you might need for the visa application would be bank statement to show that you have got enough funds for the duration of your stay, a passport with a validity of at least 6 months before your travel, a health exam, maybe not, if they ask you, the itinerary, and proof of return flights. So that's all you need to apply for the visa, and some countries might need a little bit more documents, so I suggest you go onto the website and check and then apply for the visa online. Now once you have your visa, you will be eager to book your flights, but before you do that, I would suggest to decide which part of the country you want to see. If you're planning West Coast, Perth would be the closest international airport, and for East Coast, either Melbourne or Sydney or even Cairns. But most probably you will be landing in Melbourne or Sydney because they are the 2 major international airports in the country. The currency used in this country is Australian dollar, and this is the current exchange rate of AUD, and since you'll need to convert some money, let me tell you that a majority of places in the country are cashless. Credit cards with no international fee would be your best option, or use Wise currency card if it's available in your country. They have amazing rates and the card can be used as a debit card. And if you really want to exchange some cash, just don't do it at the airports because they have the worst rates. Rather, come to Sydney CBD or Melbourne CBD and go to the exchange counters and get your money exchanged over there because they have at least better rates than that. Otherwise,
All right. I hope that you enjoyed that. For the sake of time, we would leave it at this. We can share the link if you want, so you can enjoy that at your leisure. Any final question? So for you to reach out to our amazing immigration expert, Mr. Gabriel, thank you so much for joining today. So if you want to reach out, so here is his contact details. So and then you can reach out to us as well. We can connect you. Any final questions? We give you your time back, everyone. Please follow us on our socials. Stay in touch. Reach out if you have any inquiries.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for your time, everyone.
Thank you so much. Okay, and B, what is the discounted rate? 5%. Yes. Follow us on socials and you let me or send us a DM. We can discuss. Thank you so much. Follow us. But yeah, session has ended now officially. Thank you. We can leave you for 2 minutes to follow us and yeah.
Western Union is also available at plenty of locations throughout the country, so that is one more option if you are keen to get some cash. Accommodations. Let's get this out of the box. Traveling in Australia is expensive, and so are the accommodations. Budget shared dormitories are available in all major tourist destinations and start from about $30 a night.
All right. Thank you so much. We'll leave it at that for now. And enjoy your day. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, Mr. Gabriel.
Thank you.